So we're going to have a very quick 3-minute per candidate opening statements for each of them. And then we're going to have 3 questions from the group that put this together. They're going to be 2 minutes each. They have 2 minutes to answer each. And then we're going to try a free-form discussion based on the questions that you all have submitted, if that works. But because of the microphone situation, that might be a little difficult. So we're going to try it. If it doesn't work out, we're going to revert back to the sort of single question and answer format. And then each candidate will get a 2-minute closing statement. And if we're lucky, we'll be out here by 8:15 or 8:30. Although we've started late, so we may go a little bit later. I think that's it. Ground rules, gentlemen. I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but hold your cheering. Don't interrupt each other. Be respectful. Jesse Aragwin is the incumbent right now. Jim Novosel is next to him, and we're expecting Burnt Wall, but he hasn't made it yet. So if he does, we can have him join them. So, my name is Jesse Aragwin. I'm an incumbent Berkeley City Council member representing our district, District 4. 2 years ago, you elected me to continue Donna Spring's work. And during my 2 years on the council, I've been a very strong advocate for the issues that Donna cared about. Affordable housing, the environment, animal rights. Many of these issues are issues that we care about as a district. Donna and I shared many values, which I know a majority of District 4 residents share. And this election is an important election because we have a lot at stake. Will we continue to have representation that shares the values of our district, values that support new developments along major corridors in our downtown, but at a reasonable level, and that protects the quality of life of our neighborhoods? And will we continue to have somebody like Donna, who was part of a minority voice on the council? I believe that there should be voices on council that are different from the majority, that there should be people that consistently advocate for affordable housing, for the need for truly green building, for the need to protect and enhance our neighborhoods, and for open and transparent government. This election is a referendum about whether or not we want a unanimous voice on the council, or whether we want diversity of opinion in person. The East Bay Express, in an article that they released yesterday, talked about this very issue, and I'll just quote from that article. It says, if Bates and his team of 5 council colleagues have their way in electing challengers to myself and council member Chris Worthington, dissident city council voices may be a thing of the past. I think it's important that we, as part of a democracy, and as part of true representative government, that we have people who present multiple perspectives. We have people who stand up for the people of District 4, to the developers and special interests, to make sure that we have responsible development, to make sure that we have truly green development, to make sure Berkeley is a leader on affordable housing issues. And during my very short time on the council, I have been an independent progressive voice in the council, advocating for the environment, which is why I have the sole endorsement of the Sierra Club in my campaign for re-election, advocating for affordable housing, advocating for an improved downtown. We've talked about downtown revitalization for many years, but one tangible thing that I have been able to do, working with my colleagues on the City Council, building consensus to create public policy, has been to create a pedestrian plaza on Center Street between Oxford and Shag. We are moving forward now with the funding to make that a reality. But there are many other things that we can do to make downtown much better, such as addressing the issue of vacant storefronts, such as having adequate parking, and having an improved streetscape and a pedestrian-friendly environment. These are all things that I have worked hard to try to facilitate in the downtown, but things take time. These past 2 years have been a wonderful experience to work on the council, to represent you, and to be an advocate for these issues which are important to our district. And I ask you, many council members have 4 years to take the time to actually be an effective representative and to actually see their initiatives materialize. I've only had 2 years. I ask that you give me an opportunity to continue to work to be an advocate for our district. Thank you.
Jim, yes.
Sure. Well, my name is Jim Novosel, and I'm running for District 4 Council. I seek District 4's council seat to continue my efforts to improve Berkeley, and especially our neighborhoods. My family and I love our neighborhood. We've been in it for about 10 years. It's a great place to live. I've lived up in the hills. I've lived in other parts of the lowlands, and I'll tell you, live. I want to serve my community and give back to it. It has been a great place for me to live, to have my business, to raise my family, and have my children go to the Berkeley Public Schools, and I want to give back. I will work for the continued preservation and renewal of our neighborhoods. I will encourage families to move into our neighborhoods and to have empty nesters stay in their homes. I will support housing improvements, including additions and taking garages and turning them into studios, and trying to make the permit process much easier. For the downtown, I will work to make it a better service and social center for us, for its primary users, which is the residents who are adjacent to the downtown. The downtown has improved immeasurably over the last 10 years, yet it does not have services, basic services that we want, such as clothing stores, shoe store. We have to drive elsewhere. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to go into the downtown to have retail centers and get those things? We've got preservation and restoration in the downtown, which is great, and I've helped many of those buildings. I've done at least a half a dozen buildings. My firm's name is on 3 plaques of historical restoration projects that have won awards. I have also done housing in the downtown, good housing that will also won awards. These two forces, preservation and building growth, are essential to make the downtown continue to grow. We need to honor these two forces and appreciate the historical preservation that we do and appreciate the new housing. With the 1,000 housing units that we've provided in the last 10 years in the downtown, it has made the downtown vital and a very exciting place to be. I really love going up there and actually see moms with their carriages, going through the downtown. So it definitely is a safer place. What pushed me into running was seeing the endless debates, the querulous process, the torturous thing of trying to get a downtown plan that's been going on forever. District 4 needs better representation. It needs someone who can pull the divergent sides of the city together and move forward and champion the future. My heart is in this town. I'm not running as a politician. I'm running as a longtime resident who wants to do good. Thank you.
Hello. I've been to your church before, and also I used to
Can you
get...
adjust the mic, please?
Hello. My name is Barron Paul, and I teach engineering at the university. Sorry, I'll speak up. My name is Barron Paul, and I teach engineering at the university. And I've been to this church before. I've been in the congregation, and also I used to get my car washed. You had this group of people that did a really good job. And I feel part of this community. I've lived here for 20 years. And the reason I'm running is because I think we have a lot to offer this community. I love this place. I've been involved with projects in trying to get more trees on the streets, using technology to help reduce crime. Some of the ideas that I have, and I want to work really closely with, we have this great brain trust of people in the university that know a lot about how to make a community better. We have a lot of community members that have been dying to have a voice in saying, what can we do to reduce crime and make this a more viable place to live? And what I see is we have a lot of these ideas, but they don't seem to be implemented very much. And so one of the big things that I want to do is I want to focus on making the downtown a more livable place. A place that you can feel safe to walk, a place you might want to go in the evenings and share time with your friends. And some of the ways we can do that is first fill those empty storefronts. That is not good. I have heard from a lot of you who've been here for many, many years how vibrant Berkeley was in the 50s and 60s. So some of the things we can do is use technology such as GIS. It says, what's the most appropriate storefront here? What's the most viable business that could be here? If we don't have to drive, we can walk. I think the Trader Joe's here, people are now walking in the evening and picking up just what they need for a few days. They don't need to basically drive, get a week's supply of groceries, and come back. And I think we also need a place to find socks and find other things and just have a really great community. And using this technology and the ideas in urban planning and other things, and I've already got a bunch of people that really want to help, including Clinton's economic advisor, Laura Tyson, who I know, and I just said, would you help the downtown? And we have Nobel Prize winners, and we have citizens like you that have ideas, and we just have to have a way that we can congregate those ideas and really make Berkeley a better place to live. Thank you.
Now we're going to ask a few questions that we've come up with in advance, and they're going to be asked in a random order. So first, Bernd, what is your position on Measure R and your reasons for that position?
You know, it's a very divisive issue, and I basically say, let the citizens.
Or just loud.
Okay. I'm a lecturer, so I'll stand up if you don't mind. I basically say, let the citizens decide. This is a democracy. Basically, what I want to help do is bring and facilitate the ideas that really move forward. And if there's a divisive issue like Measure R, it's really up to the citizens because they're the ones that have to buy into the community. We have to take into consideration, too, that Berkeley, the downtown area, there's places that need to grow to get higher density. If we want to make Berkeley a more safe place, if we want to create more businesses internally instead of having everybody drive to Emeryville or to Albany, we'll have to create more of an infrastructure in place. But how that gets done, it really should be the voices of the city, the people who live here, the ones that are going to go to these shops. So in that respect, I will help facilitate ideas with the community, but on that measure, it's really, it's on the ballot, and really the citizens are the ones that should decide what the future of their city is going to be.
Jesse?
So I'm strongly against Measure R, and I'm leading the campaign against it. And
You can use the microphone
let
if
me
you
use
like.
the microphone. It might be easier.
Okay, sorry.
I think it's important. How much time do we have?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I think it's important to put this into context. There was a settlement agreement with the university which mandated that we have a downtown planning process. And at the beginning of that process, the council had appointed a citizens commission to develop a first draft of the downtown plan. I was on that commission, as was Mr. Novosel, and we were able to reach, and some members of the audience as well, and we were able to reach consensus on a plan for our downtown. 17 out of 21 members agreed that this was the plan, the right plan to move forward with the plans for downtown. This plan out for greater density downtown, but on a more reasonable scale. It did have a few hotels at 225 feet, but those were only allowed to be hotels, and only if we got real community benefits in exchange for those hotels. This plan would have ensured that we had a sustainable downtown with better transit, more walkable streets. That plan went to the city council. The city council decided they would not adopt it. I was a strong advocate to make sure that the big plan be passed by the city council. Unfortunately, the council passed what I thought was an irresponsible plan, which not only allowed buildings up to 180 feet, but ensured that we weren't going to get the community benefits such as open space, affordable housing, labor policies in exchange for those taller buildings. We did a referendum, I led the referendum, and now we're at the point where, rather than negotiating with the proponents of the referendum and myself as the representative of the downtown, they move forward with Measure R. Measure R is not a plan, it's a plan to have a plan, and it's very vague with the exception of a few things, such as increasing building heights up to 180 feet downtown, weakening our landmarks ordinance, which is why the Berkeley Architectural Heritage Association, one of the biggest advocates for historic preservation in Berkeley, is strongly against Measure R and is leading the campaign against it. As a strong advocate for historic preservation, I am against Measure R. And most importantly to you, neighbors of District 4, particularly west of MLK, it expands the downtown area without adequate protections from overdevelopment. I am a strong advocate against these encroachments on our neighborhoods, ensuring that we have reasonable development at a more human scale, which is why I'm actively opposed in this election.
I understand that people have concerns of Measure R. Am I walking around the neighborhood, talking to people? It always comes up. And I don't think anyone doesn't think it's a big deal to try to figure out what to do about it. So here are my thoughts about Measure R as a preservation architect who knows the downtown very well. One, the measure is asking you your advice on the possible height of 3 tall buildings in the downtown. Could they be of the height of the Wells Fargo building? To me, and they would only be within 1 block of the BART station. To me, this